We're in the season of Jewish high holy days. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is observed for 2 days. This year it was from sundown on September 15th to nightfall on September 17th. It is a celebration of God's creation of the world. Shana Tova to our Jewish friends and family here among us and all over the world. Shana Tova is a wish for good and a sweet year ahead. My Hebrew Bible teacher in seminary was Jewish. She made the Bible stories I learned as a child in Sunday school come alive in so many ways as we studied them through the contextual lens of the covenant between the people of Israel and their God. She spent time teaching us about the connection between Jewish holidays and the Tanakh, the text of the Hebrew Bible. Did you know that the Bible prescribes that Rosh Hashanah be observed for just 1 day, on the first day of the new moon in the month of Tishri, and not 2 days as it is celebrated now? 2 days was a solution of unity to a problem that developed in the early centuries. When the stargazers and the witnesses in Jerusalem determined the arrival of the new moon, they would light beacons on the mountaintops and send out messengers to the distant communities to let people know that the new year had begun. If you lived far from Jerusalem, you might not get the news on time and miss the correct day. To protect against this and to unify the celebration days for those in the Jewish diaspora and the Jewish community in Jerusalem, they made Rosh Hashanah a 2-day holiday. And so it continues today. 2 days to begin the new year. I think it's such a beautiful story. The other high holy day, always 10 days after the start of Rosh Hashanah, is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which begins this year tonight at sundown and ends at nightfall tomorrow night. Yom Kippur is considered the most sacred day in the Jewish calendar. We don't wish our Jewish friends and family a happy Yom Kippur. Rather, we wish them a meaningful one. It is a day of fasting and prayer and deep reflection. The thing to remember about the time period between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is the sacredness of that space. In a sermon I read by Rabbi Jennifer Hartman, who identifies as a Reformed Jew, she explained that for her, the days are an opening for thoughts of mercy and forgiveness, a time to contemplate the past year and the new one ahead, to begin the year with new resolve. She wrote, "If there's anything that the high holy days teach us, it is that life is complicated and messy." She sees the holy space as an opportunity to do the work of apology and to think about fixing things, or sometimes, she wrote, to decide which things not to fix. In the religious education classes with our UUC kids this month, we talked about the Jewish high holy days. We discussed how we all have times as we move through our life that we make mistakes and sometimes need to apologize. We also have times when others have done something to us and they may ask us to forgive them. We talked with the kids about our UU values, which are centered in love, and that one of the things that grows out of love when we apologize and forgive is transformation. And that's another one of our UU values. We explored the idea that something magical can happen when we allow ourselves to say, "I'm sorry," and "I'm open to forgiving others." We were introduced to a Yom Kippur story, and I'd love to tell it to you too. There was a Ziz, a giant mythological yellow bird with dark red wings and a purple forehead. I think we have a picture of Ziz. There it is. He loved the children of Earth, but he kept doing awkward things that caused problems for them. When he spread out his wings and flew during the day, he would block out the sun, which made the mothers think the rain was coming, and they would take their children inside, making them lose their playtime. This made Ziz sad, and he started flying mostly at night. And accidentally, a week before Yom Kippur, Ziz flew into the tallest pine tree in the world. And it fell over and destroyed the children's garden and all of their growing fresh food. Even the pumpkins were smashed to bits. Ziz flew off to have a chat with God, and he recounted how he had ruined the garden and didn't know how to fix it. Ziz asked, "What should I do?" God said, "I want you to search the earth and bring back the hardest word." So Ziz really got into searching for the word. He heard a mother say goodnight to a child, even when the child wasn't tired. And the child said, "I'm not tired, I don't want to go to bed." And Ziz thought, well, maybe the hardest word is goodnight. He heard a child say, "Paschetti." And his father said, "No, it's spaghetti." Maybe the hardest word is spaghetti. Ziz made many trips to see his God and shared the words he found. He brought some really good words: rock, rhinoceros, ridiculous. He brought God 100 more words, and although God said he liked them all, they weren't the hardest word. Finally, on the evening of Yom Kippur, Ziz met God at Mount Sinai and said, bowing his purple head, "I have no word. I have come to say I'm sorry. I can't find the hardest word." "Good job," God said. "You found the hardest word." "I did?" Now Ziz was confused. "Yes," God said, "the hardest word is sorry. While all the words you brought me were hard, sorry is the hardest." "I always say sorry on Yom Kippur," the Ziz said. "Well, you should say it other times too," God answered. "Like when I smashed the garden?" Ziz said. "That's right," God said. The Ziz thanked God and pulled his purple feathered head out of heaven. And then he spread out his big wings and flew back to the children's garden. And on the way, he stopped at his own garden and gathered a big basket of fruits and vegetables for the children. So there are so many things I like about this story. First, I like that God encouraged Ziz to fly around and by his own experience, like we all do, learned a lot of words and found out for himself what it means to be sorry. Making mistakes and being sorry was his lesson to learn. Another thing I like about this story is the lesson that a true apology is more than a statement. It also involves an intention. Ziz gathered food from his garden and took it to the children. After he said he was sorry, he figured out something to do. That's a great way to build peaceful, thriving community. So there's a lot of research and writing about the benefits of apologies. Dr. Sanam Hafiz, a neuropsychologist, wrote, "If you're wrong, say it." A lot of good can come from it, especially if we admit that we messed up, take responsibility for our mistake, validate another's feelings, express remorse, and then try to make amends. She said, this is a recipe for peacemaking and transformation. So recently I experienced this, and it involves these earrings that I'm wearing. I ordered them to wear to my daughter's baby shower. The package arrived, and they had sent the wrong earrings. So I thought, all right, no problem. I called customer service, and they said they must have switched a number, and they assured me that they would send the right earrings in an envelope to send back the wrong earrings. And a week went by, nothing. I called customer service again, and this time I fell into a really bad loop. And I'm sure you've been in these loops. They ask, "Why didn't you send back the wrong ones? Did you wear them?" And according to our records, it looks like you have the right earrings. And then, let me get my manager. They finally said someone would call me back. The next day, the phone rang, and it's them again, and I have a clenched feeling, ready for another round, and I start wondering, can these earrings possibly be worth it? So I tell her name is Charlotte, the story, and I wait for more aggravation. She said, "I'm sorry." Period. "I'm sorry, we really messed this up. I'm FedExing you the right earrings, and you keep the earrings that you got that were wrong, and now those are a gift for you, or you can give them to someone else. Is there anything else I can do to make this right? I hope the baby shower's fun." This was just earrings, but I gotta say, it made my day. And it reminded me how powerful sorry can be. When we are sorry, we're vulnerable. When we're vulnerable, our hearts open. And we are open to seeing things in a new way, which is where transformation happens. There is a Hasidic tale about an open heart that I'd like to end with. A disciple asked the rabbi, "Why does the Torah tell us to place the holy words upon our heart? Why doesn't it tell us to place the holy words in our heart?" The rabbi answered this, "It is because, as we are, our hearts are closed, and we cannot place the holy words in our hearts. So we place them on top of our hearts, and there they stay until one day the heart is open and the words fall in." The work of transformational love and building beloved community requires our open heart. I have witnessed it many times here at UUC. I don't know if sorry is the hardest word. Ziz's God thought so. And Elton John said, sorry seems to be the hardest word. I don't know if it's the hardest word, but it is a really, really good one.